darlings, this is Sewing Julie and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a new sewing pattern tutorial prepared for you on how you can make a robe like this one. A robe is a very practical wardrobe piece, so I hope that you will enjoy seeing this tutorial. And also the pattern is very easy to make, so even if you don't have any prior pattern making experience, feel free to try out making this pattern because it's really beginner friendly. I made this robe from the waffle fabric, and if you have never sewn with waffle fabrics before, I have a YouTube short video on tips of what you can expect from working with this fabric. If you enjoy sewing and pattern tutorials, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's start our tutorial. So we will start creating our pattern from the back piece of the fabric. So I will be drawing on this piece of paper, I will be drawing the pattern pieces, and here I will show you what measurements you need to take. So first we will start by taking our robe length, and it will be measured from the highest point of the shoulder at the back all the way down to how long you want your robe to be. You can finish it at the knee length or higher or lower, it's totally up to you. In my case, from the highest shoulder point all the way to the knees there was 1 meter, so I will mark down 1 meter, okay? So this line right here will be the center of our back, and also it will be our fold line. So next step that we will need to measure is the back length, and the back length is measured from the highest shoulder point all the way down to the waistline right here. In my case, my back length is 41 centimeters. So from this point right here, I will mark down 41 centimeters. If you want, you can mark that it's waist right here. And we will do a simple 90-degree line just to mark where our waist is. So the hip line is from the waistline, we will go all the way down to the widest place of your hips. So let's say this is the widest place of your hips. So you would measure from the waistline down until this place right here. In my case, it's 22 centimeters. Usually this measure is somewhere around 20-21 centimeters. And we will mark a hip line right here. Again, we will do a 90-degree angle right here, and we will mark the hip line with the line, and we will write hip. Next, if you want, you can do a line right here as well. Again, 90-degree angle, and this will be the bottom of our robe. I want you to go ahead and measure the waistline, which is your waist circumference in the narrowest spot, and you will need 1/4 of this measure plus some ease. How much ease to add, it's totally up to you. I recommend adding not less than 4 centimeters of ease. For robe, you can add even more to have it a little bit looser. So in my case, I used 80 centimeters for the waist for this specific robe, and this was already including ease, so I need 1/4 of that measure, and it's 20 centimeters. So on the waistline, I will measure 20 centimeters from the center line. So from this line, I'll move here by 20 centimeters. Now we will do the same with the hip circumference. So measure your hip circumference, add a little bit of ease. You don't have to add a lot of ease on the hips unless you want to. In my case, the total hip circumference is 110 centimeters, including ease, and I will need 1/4 of this measure, which is 27.5 centimeters. And again, on the hip line, from the back center line, I will measure those 27.5 centimeters. So from this line, 27.5 centimeters, like that. And because I want my robe to go straight down, I will measure the exact same number here at the bottom as well. Now at the top, right here, I want you to measure half of your shoulder width. So your shoulder width will be measured at the back from the widest shoulder point to the other widest shoulder point, and you will need half of this measure. So the shoulder width in my case is 40 centimeters. I need half of that measure, so 20 centimeters, and from this point right here, I will mark here to the side 20 centimeters. Like this. Now I will go from this point all the way to the waistline in again a nice beautiful 90-degree angle. Now we will start forming our back neckline. So the neckline width is 7 centimeters. This is basically regular width for standard sizing. If you want a little bit wider or a bit more narrow, it's up to you. But the standard is about 7 centimeters. So from this point, I will mark here 7 centimeters, and this is our back neckline width. Now for the depth, the standard is around 3 centimeters. It does vary a little bit, but again the variation is very small, so we are not taking it into consideration, and we will just mark from this point down 3 centimeters. And here we have the depth of our neckline. Now we will just connect these 2 points with a beautiful curved line. If you're not feeling comfortable drawing the curve with your hand, a French curve is a very practical ruler to have, and you can use it to create a beautifully shaped neckline. Now the following measure that you will need is from the back center of the waist right here. I want you to measure to the widest shoulder point. So you will take your measuring tape like this. You would put one end on the widest shoulder point, and the other end will go here at the middle of the back waistline. All right. So in my case, the number is 42 centimeters, and I will do exactly the same on my pattern. From the back waist center, I will mark here on the shoulder line 42 centimeters, and it will look like this. So I'm placing my ruler at the center of the waist back, right? And then I will mark it like this, so that the 42 centimeters goes on this shoulder line, right? Like this. And I want you to connect the highest point of your neckline or your highest point of the shoulder with this shoulder end line here. And this is your shoulder line. Next up, I want you to take the measuring tape and measure from the highest shoulder point all the way down on how long you want your sleeve to be. So in my case, I measured from the highest shoulder point all the way down until my elbow right here. In my case, that number was 38 centimeters. So I will go ahead and I will mark from this point on the shoulder line, I will mark 38 centimeters. So from this point, I am drawing and expanding my shoulder line by 38 centimeters total. Now, next step that you want to do and you want to think about is what width of the sleeve you want to do. So in my case, I wanted my total armhole circumference to be 40 centimeters in total, and now I will have to mark down half of that measure. So again, I'm making a nice 90-degree angle here, and I'm measuring the 20 centimeters. Now all you need to do is to connect your bottom line with your hip line, then straight to the waistline like this. Of course, human figures don't have sharp corners like this one, so you want to create a little bit of a curve here, just a little bit, to make it soft, beautiful line. Now, the trickiest part will be to connect this point with this point. So you can start either here by creating a nice 90-degree angle and then just creating a curve that you like. It's totally up to you what kind of curve to create here. You can go as deep as I did here. You can go a little bit shallower. It's totally up for you and up to your preferences. Once you finish this, your back piece is ready, and I want you to cut this piece out of the paper. So I have my back piece cut out here, and I put it on a new piece of paper. Now remember, in the beginning of the video I said that making a robe pattern is very easy and very simple, and the reason why it is so is because we will be using a lot of measures from the back piece to create the front piece. So once you have your back piece ready, I want you to draw around, starting from this point right here. You will go down your shoulder sleeve line, then you will draw around sleeve length, you will draw around that beautiful curve, down the hip curve, all the way to the bottom, and then you will draw around the bottom as well. Now at the center line, I want you to mark where your waist is. So like this simply. And the entire center line I want you to mark as the puncture line. This will be our help line. We will not use it in the final pattern, but we will use it to help us draw that pattern, okay? So just mark it. Okay, beautiful. So remember, we are now working on the front line. Okay, so now we will start creating the collar for our front piece. To do that, I want you to measure the back neckline length, which is here, this measure. In my case, it's 8 centimeters. So I want you to take those 8 centimeters, and here at the top of the shoulder line, I want you to put a 90-degree angle, and on this line, mark those 8 centimeters, like this. Now it's up for you how wide you want your collar to be. So in my case, I wanted my collar to be 10 centimeters. So from this point right here, I want you to put on the 90-degree angle 10 centimeters, or however wide you want your collar to be, like this. So the next thing is, we added here 10 centimeters, and this is how wide I want my collar to be. So I want the collar to go through entire robe length, because I want, you know, that effect where one side of the robe is put on the other side of the robe and crisscrossed. I hope I can explain it pretty well, but I will show you in the photo as well. So here is how the robe sides are crisscrossed. So in my case, I wanted it to cross at exactly 10 centimeters all the way along the robe, which means at this help line, from the waistline point below, I have to add 10 centimeters, okay? So here is my waistline mark, and I have added 10 centimeters for that crisscross. I hope this part is clear. If not, please let me know in the comments. I will try to jump in and explain a little bit better. Okay, so now we have that beautiful 10 centimeter crisscross. Now from the waist point right here, I want you to create a beautiful curve for that color right here. Now the front piece of your robe is also finished, and I want you to cut it out. So once the front piece is cut out, I want to show you that here at the waistline is where our collar begins. So in the final version, you would ideally fold your collar from the waistline to this point, right? This is how beautiful your collar will look like, and this piece will go to your back line, and it will look so beautiful. You can mark this folded line. I will fold just a little bit more accurately. You can mark this line with a dotted line, so that you know where your fold is going to happen. Okay, so next up we can cut our interfacing if you want to interface the collar. So it would go like this. You would take a new piece of paper again. You would draw around this, draw here somewhere, and then all the way down. It would be the interface for your collar. Next up, we need to cut two last final pieces. One is the pocket and two is the belt. So for the pockets, it's up for you how long or deep you want your pockets to be. My measure is always like this. I take my hand and I just draw around it and see how wide I want my pocket to be to really be that comfortable. In my case, what I did for my own robe was 20 centimeters width. Here is the top of my pocket, 20 centimeters, and I marked down 28 centimeters, which was the height of my pocket. So here is the pocket piece. And lastly, you want to cut your belt. So with a belt, I like to just take my measuring tape, wrap around my waistline and see how long I want the belt to be. In my case, I did the belt length exactly the length of the width of my fabric, which was 1 meter 40 centimeters. Again, you can do it longer, you can do it shorter, totally up for you. In my case, it was 1 meter and 40 centimeters. So I will just go ahead and mark that down. Now for the width of the belt, I wanted my belt to be 4 centimeters wide in the final version. So you want to double that measure because you will be cutting the belt on fold. So if I want my belt to be 4 centimeters in the final look, I have to mark 8 centimeters in total. And now lastly, very last move, in the middle I will just mark the fold line. I like to mark my fold line with the puncture line so that I know that it's not for cutting but for folding. Now I want you to cut both pocket and belt pieces. And here are all the pieces for your robe. Thank you for watching the video and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any question about the pattern tutorial, please let me know in the comment section down below. Have a wonderful week ahead and bye!